Hey everyone, I'm Kristen McGlory, and this week's Genius recipe is for a shockingly simple citrus cake. I've featured a lot of simple cakes in Genius recipes over the years, and this I've never seen before. So this recipe comes from Yasmin and her beautiful book, Ripe Figs. And it is a super citrusy cake because it does call for quite a bit of orange zest. So while I keep zesting these oranges, here is Yasmin to tell you a little bit more about the place that inspired this recipe.
This is a recipe that's inspired from the Mediterranean island of Cyprus, which I was visiting as part of my research for my latest book, Ripe Figs. I had a version of this cake in this cafe called Home for Cooperation, which is situated right in the buffer zone in the green line dividing the Turkish northern part of the island and the southern Greek part of the island. What I really love about the recipe is I feel like it's really emblematic of the flavors of Cyprus. Cyprus is a place known for its abundant number of citrus fruit, you know, everything from limes to pomelos to mandarins, and these kind of this cake is a real celebration of citrus, and with the addition of the gorgeous tang from the yogurt, really epitomizes the perfect kind of summer cake in my mind.
This is the part where this cake really shocked me. All of these things that you see here are going in basically at the exact same time. And this is the only place that I've ever seen taking softened butter, the kind that you would normally cream with sugar and then add eggs one by one and get super fluffy and then add in your pre-mixed dry ingredients. That kind of butter going straight into the mixer with everything else. I will say the one exception is that the eggs are supposed to be lightly beaten, but I'm just going to add them into the mixer first, give them a little stir, and then add everything else. There, lightly beaten. Now everything else can go in. So we've got some all-purpose flour, little granulated sugar, some baking powder, some salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then here is the yogurt giving this cake its super moist crumb. Almost forgot I need a little bit of orange juice too from those zested oranges. Ooh, that's great. I could use a reamer, but I'm being lazy for this one. And now here comes our softened butter. If you haven't buttered your cake pans yet, save these. It's the perfect thing to butter your cake pans because it's already soft and spreadable. Okay, softened butter, all our other stuff, everything is in. So I'm using an electric mixer just because it is so quick and easy that way, but you can also totally mix this by hand.
This is a really straightforward recipe. You just put everything in one bowl and mix it. But it is quite crucial to make sure that you're not over mixing it. So what I try and kind of look for when I'm mixing is just simply a case of the ingredients combining. As soon as the streaks of, say, flour are gone, that's it. You know, you don't want the eggs to be kind of all frothy, just minimize mixing as much as possible.
Yeah, that is better. All right, here we are buttering our cake pans. No butter left behind. Ooh. And then we're going to do parchment circles just to be safe. To get parchment circles out of what are definitely parchment squares, basically you just have to do the thing you did when you were cutting out snowflakes as a kid. Fold it up, find the edge, cut it sort of rounded, and then it should basically be a circle. It fits into your pan and will help your cake pop out. You know, I know that you can reuse parchment that you have used in baking, just kind of wipe it off or wash it and dry it, and you can keep reusing it basically until it falls apart. I think I'm just gonna give to my daughter for a craft project, but let me know if you have ideas. Okay, so to get cake batter evenly into 2 pans, you can be very precise and weigh it, especially if you have 2 identical cake pans. It's pretty easy to just make sure you have the same weight. You can also scoop it with an ice cream scoop, like, you know, one here until you run out. You can also just eyeball it. and know that if one looks a little more full, you're probably gonna wanna leave it in the oven a little bit longer to bake, which is what I'm going to do. Wow, this batter smells really, really good and orangey. You know it's a super citrusy cake when the zest has turned the batter orange. Do they look even to you, Mike?
Pretty good.
This one gets a little more love. If you see a little glob of butter here or there, not a big deal. So these are just gonna go into a 350-degree oven for about 20-25 minutes until, you know, all the normal cake cues happen. Firm, toothpick comes out relatively clean, all of that. So this is just a super simple cream cheese frosting, but in this version it does call for two kinds of citrus, orange and lemon. So here's Yasmin to tell us a little bit more about how she would mix and match citrus for this frosting and this cake.
One of the really great things about the cake is that it's very versatile. So whilst in the original recipe, I suggest using oranges and lemons, you can kind of play with that. You know, if if you've got blood oranges in season near you, you could use those and kind of do gorgeous little swirls in the frosting. It works if you just, really want to go on kind of the lemony vibe. You can just use kind of Mayer lemons. So I feel like it's one of those cakes that, yeah, you can just kind of see what's in your local store or your local farmer's market and just go with that.
We have very soft cream cheese in here, and I'm just going to add the other ingredients and mix it all up in one step again. Here's the confectioner sugar. Ooh. Uh-oh. The orange juice, the lemon juice, and the yogurt. Okay, that looks super smooth. I'm going to just chill this until it's firmer and go flip out those cakes. All right, the cakes have been cooling for about 5 minutes. I'm just gonna loosen the edges with a knife and then flip them out. Beautiful. There. All right. Those are some beauties. They just need to cool all the way, and then we will frost them and make a little layer cake. All right, my frosting is chilled and firm. My cakes are cooled, and now it's time to put it all together. I'm just gonna make a little garnish, a pretty little something to go on top. So I'm going for long-ish strips of orange and lemon zest, and then I'm going to cut it into little matchsticky things. And it'll look like confetti on top of the cake. So you could leave these straight, or you could sort of try to like curl them up around your fingers. Like so. Or if you have one of those, cocktail zester thingies, that would also make really pretty curly cues to go on top of your cake. I don't have one of those. I think that my little hack here was successful because when I made this the first time, it was the very first thing that my daughter grabbed off the cake. One of these little curly cues. I think she was slightly disappointed because it wasn't a sprinkle, but once you eat it with the cake, that doesn't matter. But
it just reminds me of all the free time we have. Just thinking about that.
Mike, there's always time for the things you enjoy. And this,
Wait, this?
Yes, this is one of them for me. Look, it's so satisfying. It's kind of like making your own pasta or something, like meditative.
Who are you trying to convince?
You. All right, now we can put our cake together. You can frost this however you like. I love in the book where it was just like naked layers of cake with frosting on top, not worrying about getting all the sides covered and showing off the beautiful orange color of the cake. So I'm just gonna eyeball about half of this frosting. And you could use a spoon or a table knife. I'm going to use this offset spatula, which is very handy for lots of things, especially if you bake a lot, but it comes in handy in a surprising number of situations. Cake number 2 happening. So you can frost it however you like. I like it casual like this. And now we can put our little curlicues. Perfect. All right, while I keep futzing with these, here is Yasmin to tell us more about how she would like to serve this cake.
The beauty of this cake, I think, is in its simplicity. It's perfect for serving at any time of day, any season, and for me, just brings a little spark of Mediterranean sunshine into my day.
So even if your frosting is not totally firm like mine and it starts to ooze over the sides, that's okay. How can that be a bad thing? Look at that. Wow, that is amazing. You would never know that the cake and the frosting each came together in one step, in one bowl. Please give it a try. Let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know how you would riff on this with other citrus or other doodads on top.